It's been 84 years. Hello, es ist Sonntag und ich heiße Sonntag and welcome back to Books and Hooks. I know, it's been a while.
It's been 84 years.
I moved, different background. This is temporary, so it's been hard to find a quiet place to record. I finally have the space to myself. Fingers crossed, I will find a new place to put up all my books and my hooks, and I want to paint the walls too. I have big ideas and big plans. This is really pretty right now, beachy and stuff, but it's not mine. So can't wait until the market stops being awful to find my own space. Thoughts and prayers and good blessings and manifestations and all of that jazz. Wow, it's been so long that I've forgotten my intro. So welcome to Books and Hooks. If you're new here, hi. This is normally not how I do things. I'm D.M.Sonntag, author of the Kingdom Isles series, and this is a channel where I talk about books and crochet. Some of them my own books, some of them books that I've read. Shoot, I didn't bring that. Well, I guess that's in the next video. But if you're a returning watcher, welcome back. Thank you for still being here after, gosh, I don't even know how long it's been.
84 years.
Yeah, thank you for still being here and not leaving me. I'm so sorry I left you. But I'm back now, and I have figured out things and gotten a few ducks in a row. Some of them are still running around everywhere, but last I left off, I was reading a chapter from my book, which I don't have. Let me go get that. Well, that worked out because I needed water anyway. Look at my naughty hookers. That's the crochet group I'm in. My fake Stanley. But anyway, shout out. You know who you are if you watch this. It doesn't fit. So, as I was saying, I've been reading a chapter of my book. I did the Lightning Bride, I did the Golden Wolf, and now I'm going to do the Wizard's Goddess, which I just dropped. Hello. I like these videos. I don't know if you do. I feel like it's just a taste of my brain. Welcome. It's a crazy place. I try to be professional, but honestly, I feel like just the real life it's me. Like, if you want to know how I write books, this is it. So yes, I'm skipping The Mermaid Shadow. Well, technically, I skipped it when I read The Golden Wolf because you're supposed to read it after The Lightning Bride. I'll get to that. I will eventually read a chapter from The Mermaid Shadow. I wanted to do The Wizard's Goddess after The Golden Wolf because I wanted to read the introduction to Barnabas and give you the different perspective of Joanna meeting him versus Maylie meeting him in The Golden Wolf. And I should probably show the amazing cover local artist Caleb Acquire did. I'll link stuff below because he's incredible. He's also my DM for Casting Faith. It's gorgeous. I absolutely love this cover so much. Gosh, just look at the greens and that. I forgot what we settled on. It was like a twilight. No, not twilight. That's purple. Dusk, morning green. I don't know. Just there's a time of day when the sun shines on the ocean. It's this gorgeous green.
Sun hits that ridge just right.
I wanted this book to be the green to lead into the forest air. If you haven't noticed, my novellas lead into the next book. So The Mermaid Shadow was orange, which led into the Golden Wolf, and then this was supposed to be olive, and then that led into the forest green forest air. Anyway, Maylie is the energy mage meeting an energy mage, and then Farron, can't get into spoilers too much, but he's like his mother. So in this one, Joanna is similar to Maylie, and I made that intentional. The Joanna Barnabas is Farron Maylie of the energy mage dynamic, and flip the genders, and read it and you'll get it. It's really hard to talk about this without getting into too much spoilers, and the chapter that I'm going to read, I also had to take out a few things to not spoil you too much. So like I said in this video, and I think in a previous video, there's an order to read this. You can go chronologically. You can read all three novellas since they're all prequels. I just realized you can read all three novellas. No, you can't read the third one yet. I haven't published it. I have been working on it though. I got my mojo back. My muses have been singing, so the Pirate's Emerald is on its way, but you can't read it yet. I have big plans for the three novellas, and again, I can't get into too much detail because I'm going to drop it later. Just bear with me. So yes, you can read it one, two, three in that sense, or you can also read it Lightning Bride, Mermaid Shadow, Golden Wolf, Lizard's Goddess, Forest Air, Pirate's Emerald. Pirate's Emerald will end with events from the Lightning Bride, tying it all back. It's an experience no matter how you read it, so there's really no wrong way. Like, you're gonna get spoiled somewhere, regardless on how you read it. This book is special. I wrote it during a tough... Okay, back to this. I wrote it during a tough time in my life. Joanna's father represents two men in my life in two different stages. They were both battling the same disease, and one of them was more progressed, one of them was early on. So the same man is represented in the Golden Wolf as the one with the disease further on, and then he's younger in this one, so that's the younger man in my life that was also battling the disease, so I did that to honor them. But in that, it was really hard to write. There wasn't that like distance of fiction. It was reality for me, which I wanted to put in this book to give people a little bit of reality, to like connect them of like, this world has magic and the time period is not our modern day, but they're also facing the same problems that we are. So if you want to check out this book, it's on Amazon in ebook and paperback. So this is the paperback. I guess I'll go into my reading. I'm going to read the chapter where a pirate meets a flower. The pirate looks like Henry Cavill. So I'll be switching it up. It won't be me reading on the... Okay, well, I mean, it'll be me reading it. What I meant to say was I won't be on the camera. I'm gonna put a graphic and it'll be like an audiobook. You can just listen along. Oh shoot, I hope it sounds okay. Let me check that. Sound check, good, hopefully. I don't know. I don't know where the mic is. It's like muffled and I'm still not looking at the camera. Hopefully the audio quality is better, or you can hear me crisper, cleaner, whatever. I'm trying something new. There's a lot of changes going on right now in my life, so here's a change. I'm also going to be reading it in my normal accent. I can't really do a Spanish or Italian accent that well, which is how Joanna talks. Even though she was born in the Eastern Kingdom, it's an island that like kind of touches the Southern Kingdom, and that's where her parents are from. So the Southern Kingdom is modeled after Italy, Spain, and I can't do that accent, so I'm just going to be reading normal, which is Barnabas's accent. He's a Middle Kingdom pirate, so he speaks with my American accent. Without further ado, here is chapter 1 from The Wizard's Goddess.
Joanna plopped down on the empty beach, deeming 4 shells were enough. Grabbing a nearby stick, she drew patterns in the sand. It was nearly dusk, and the festival began tomorrow at dawn, but she didn't want to collect any more shells for the children to decorate. They could share the 4 white conchs, or find something better to do. Dropping the stick, she rested back on her hands and dug her fingers into the cold sand.
She debated going for a quick swim in the freezing waters, as her Etive blood would keep her warm, and the best shells were on the seabed. The ocean was glass, dancing under a blue-green sheet. She smiled, imagining the Alpha splitting to have the Omega grab the sheet from the other corners and thrust it into the air. They arched it over the land before both parties pulled it over the waters, just like the villagers would do for a cloth on a picnic table. As Joanna lifted her sandy hands to play with the end of her strawberry blonde braid, she squinted. When the black speck on the water grew nearer until it took form, Joanna leapt to her feet. A ship. Ships usually docked on the snout of Volpa, not the tail where the pack resided. This meant new Aloba or explorers. She never witnessed newcomers who were curious enough to traverse through the jungle. She heard stories that once the sailors approached the wall surrounding the village, they'd become fearful and turn around due to the ancient magic. Glancing at her stick, she picked it up and gripped it like a knife, but soon rolled her eyes and tossed it to the side. She trained with her brothers, but a flimsy stick would do nothing against real weapons. Instead, she grabbed her basket and kicked sand over her tracks before darting into the jungle and preparing for an ambush. She managed to find a palm tree with a trunk large enough to hide her body if she tossed the basket into a shrub. Peeking, she watched the ship bob in the water while another shape descended from it. Joanna's heart beat wildly as the longboat rowed nearer to the island. Her feet itched to run back to the village, but the rapid pulse kept her nailed to the tree. She didn't want this to become another story of wandering sailors. She wanted to be the one to tell the story. As the boat reached the shallow water, Joanna noted a man and a woman blocking a third figure. The man's hair was cut close to his scalp, and and he wore a gold hoop in each ear. He wasn't as large as her older brother, but was clearly a fighter, with taut muscles stretching a simple white shirt. The woman's curly hair looked unnaturally red, probably dyed with southern oils. She scowled with lips painted the same color, and wore a black choker and a corset that did a poor job of restraining her swollen bosom. As if she felt Joanna staring, the woman pulled on a white fur coat to cover her cleavage. The bodyguard jumped out of the boat and pulled it to the shore, revealing the third person. He fumbled getting out of the boat into the shallow water, but once he reached the wet sand, he strode with an air of importance and an outfit to match. A leather coat fell to his hips, flourishing like a cape as he walked, and couldn't hide his broad shoulders and muscular arms. Everything on him was dark, even his short brown hair styled in gentle waves, and a full black beard to match, making him look like the god of death. Stopping, he peered out at the jungle and scanned it. Joanna ducked back behind the tree, but felt the intensity of his gaze sear through the foliage and pierce her like an arrow. Her heart hammered, and if he was a loba, he could hear it. "I can feel your energy," the captain called out in a deep, alluring voice with a Middle Kingdom accent. "Come out. We mean no harm." Joanna bit her lip as her traitor's heart pounded faster, giving off more pulses of energy. There were a few Aloba from the Middle Kingdom in the pack, but she'd never found the accent attractive until now. Connecting the dots between his comment about energy and his bewitching voice, she deducted he was a mage.
Easing her way around the palm tree, she walked forward and held her chin up, meeting the man's eyes. She wanted to prove she couldn't be taken by a spell. He might be a mage, but she was Etive. His hard expression softened when he met her gaze, his ebony orbs melting like chocolate. He took his gloved hand off the hilt of his sword, and he stared at her as if he were under a spell. She smiled. He cleared his throat and raised dark eyebrows. "I didn't expect a woman." "I didn't expect a pirate," she retorted, putting her hands on her hips. His brows remained raised while a smirk formed on his lips. "You think I'm a pirate?" She lowered her gaze from his forehead to his boots, then back to his eyes with her own eyebrows raised. Against his tunic, which shimmered crimson in the light, rested a variety of leather cords and silver chains. A thick tan belt adorned his midsection for style, while a brown belt on his hips held a sword, a compass, a spyglass, and a flintlock. There wasn't anything branding him as a pirate, besides the suspicious dagger poorly hidden in his boot. Her instincts said otherwise. "If you're an ordinary sailor," she said, "then I am the queen of the Southern Kingdom."
The man bowed with a flourish, raising his arm behind himself, holding the other hand to his breast, and crossing his leg behind the other so that his toes pointed into the sand. "Your Majesty." Joanna pursed her lips, holding back a grin. It was even harder to keep from smiling as he winked, sending her heart into a flutter. "What is your name, Your Grace?" he asked as he straightened. "What's yours?" she countered. "I hardly think that's fair. I asked you first." "I'm a queen," she joked. "I get to be unfair." He laughed, showing his crooked bottom teeth. "Very well, Your Excellency. Barnabas Halen at your service." She frowned and studied him, finding the name familiar. "No captain before that title?" "You're stalling," he said. His smirk made her heart beat out of rhythm. Deciding there wasn't harm in him knowing her name, she said, "Joanna Calavetti." "Calla Lily?" he repeated, a quizzical expression morphing onto his face. She couldn't help but chuckle. Her southern accent, adopted by listening to her parents, always came out in full when speaking her name. Not only had the pirate misheard, but subconsciously guessed one of her nicknames. A high-pitched cough sounded behind Barnabas, and Joanna shifted her gaze, noticing the woman who had accompanied him in the longboat. She'd forgotten he'd not come alone, and was grateful for the reminder. She couldn't let her guard down. She studied the two people up close and memorized their faces. The man had high cheekbones and a small nose with a neutral expression, while the woman bore down at her with a seething gaze. She was the same height as Joanna, but had fuller lips, smaller eyes, and a thinner midsection. "Do you live here, Calla Lily?" Barnabas's voice brought her back into the present. "No," she lied. "I was stranded from a shipwreck." He tilted his head. "You don't appear eager for rescue." "Knights, not pirates, liberate maidens." "A queen indeed." He held out his arm. "Would you honor me with a waltz around this island so that I may prove I am your noble knight?" She frowned. "I would hate to deter you from your true purpose." "What purpose is that, fair maiden?" His arm remained beckoning. "You tell me, noble knight." He dropped his arm along with his grin. Any hint of playfulness disappeared from his face and a darker shade replaced it. It's not what you think. They all say that. The raised eyebrow along with the playfulness returned. They? Have you seen more sailors? Of course, she lied. I'm the guardian of this beach here to prevent you from passing. I thought you were a shipwrecked queen. For whatever reason, all the wit left her, and she sighed. What is your purpose, Barnabas? I'm speaking to her, he replied. She raised her eyebrows, unable to single one out like he could. You came to Volpa to rescue me. More or less. Joanna shifted her weight to the other leg and pursed her lips, sensing he had more reason than less to come to this part of the island. She glanced at his accompaniment, the woman still scowling at her, and started to plot. Fine, I'll take you up on that waltz, alone. As you wish, my lady. Barnabas nodded to the two and motioned with his chin. The man departed without issue, while the woman turned with a huff. You think I'm harmless, or you wouldn't have agreed. I have my own manner of protection. He held out his arm again. Are you? She retrieved her basket, took his arm, and didn't respond. As they walked into the jungle, the palm trees remained, while the beach foliage morphed into water-hungry plants. The sand turned to dirt, and in some places, mud. Tropical birds flew and squawked above them. Joanna made sure to point out every rock, branch, tree, and leaf, hoping to bore Barnabas. It didn't seem to be working, as he gazed at the forest and her with eyes like a child. Water lilies, he remarked, as they came across the first of the ponds. Joanna nodded, staying back and eyeing the quicksand as Barnabas knelt before a flower. Pulling a knife from his belt, he cut the stem to a few finger lengths and sheathed his knife. He waved his hand over the lily and cast a blue magic onto the flower. For you, my queen, he said, holding it out to her. If I've been on this island all this time, why would you think I want a flower? Because no man has been here to bequeath you with one, he answered, and I thought you would want something to remember it once you leave. She reached out and took it, breathing in its clean aroma. Thank you. You're surprised, he said as he stood, the heel of his boot resting by the quicksand's edge. I wouldn't think a sailor would be so thoughtful. I wouldn't think a queen would be so judgmental toward innocent flowers. She stared at him, planning her attack. What magic did you put on it? An energy stasis, so it will never wilt. Would you like a demonstration of my other abilities? Telling me works just as fine. That way I know what I'm up against, she thought. Did you study at the Southern Mage Academy? I did, but left as soon as I graduated. A life stuck on land between dusty bookcases isn't for me, when there's so much of the domain I've yet to experience. Though she didn't want to, she smiled, his words speaking to her soul. Including this island? His dark eyes gleamed a sinister shade. Especially this island. The smile faded. Well, I should show you some more. Over there is the Crystal Grove, she said, pointing over his shoulder. He took the bait, turning his gaze in the direction of her finger. Crystal Grove? She didn't reply. She shoved her hands against his chest, sending him falling backward into the quicksand, and ran. What did you think? Any similarities to Maylee meeting Barnabas? Differences to his character? Do you like him more before? He might have been a little mean to Farron. What happened 26 years ago to make him win the Worst Father of the Year award? Find out in The Wizard's Goddess. Now on to crochet. Hi, me from the past here. In hindsight, I should have recorded this and everything else at the same time, but I don't want to record. It's taking all my strength to record this right now because I have 3 hours until this will be gone. So I better show it off before it's out of my possession and shipped off to the church it will be going to. This is my 3rd blanket. Ta-da! 3rd baby blanket that I made. And originally I said it was going to be a springtime Neapolitan, and then one of my crochet ladies pointed out that it looks like candy corn. So it's now the candy corn blanket. Because it's the candy corn blanket, I put a little peacoat stitch. And is that right side up? Yes. So it's in the waffle stitch, which I showed off briefly before, without the border, which gave me trouble because I ended it down here in yellow, so I just decided to go around in yellow. And then the next color would have been peach, but the peach starts up here. So if you see, I went around in yellow, then peach, but then went yellow, white. And then over here, there's one thing of peach, and I had to weave in some ends, and it took me longer to do the border than I should have, but it turned out really cute, very colorful. very soft. And once again, I underestimated the amount of yarn it would take. I guess the waffle stitch kind of eats away some yarn. It's kind of stretchy, but I don't know. Like I said, I learn every time and get better every time. And I'm sad to give it away again because I want it for myself, selfishly. But what am I gonna do with a bunch of baby blankets when I don't even have one baby? So off it goes to somebody who will actually use it. That's about it. Will I start a fourth? I don't know, actually. I'm thinking about it. Time will tell. Maybe future me knows, or future me will show off the fourth one that future me started. I don't know. But right now, in the past, I am debating, and we'll go to crochet group tonight and see if she has any yarn to make a fourth, see if I have the time to make a fourth. The deadline is tomorrow, I think. She just said May. It's April 30th right now. Back to future me. Actually, it's present me, but I guess it was future me for past me. And past future me does in fact know because she finished her fourth baby blanket, which will be the next video because future present me is talking too long. Confused? Me too. Basically, I didn't have enough time to film before Crochet Club and then I moved. So it's been, wow, today is June 30th. So it's been exactly 2 months. I'm sorry. It's been 84 years.
84 years.
Okay, that's the end of this chapter, and I'm all out of yarn, so I'll put down the hook and close the book for now. Thank you so much for watching. Check out my other videos if you want to hear me read from The Lightning Bride, me read from The Golden Wolf, or just learn more about my novels and novellas that are all available on Amazon. If you like what I do and what I make, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and follow me on Instagram for more content. Until next time, Auf Wiedersehen. Can you stop recording?